Hello, my friends. Welcome. This is going to be an episode that was inspired by a friend who's moving through something, and I've been guiding her through it. It's in regards to healthy relationships. And basically, this friend, based on what I know about her, she's incredible. She's an empath. She has the best advice. She's a great person. And at the same time, she hasn't really been in a healthy relationship before. And so I'm sort of making this playbook for cultivating a healthy relationship for her and for anyone else who really needs that advice right now. So I think that number one, before you even start dating, maybe you have, maybe you have when you were younger, but I think that we really need to have a very deep understanding of our childhood, the way we were brought up, the way that love was shown to us, the way that relationships were modeled between our parents, and deep dive into those places, right? Because we're not going to have awareness around how our patterns are showing up in our today lives until we've done that. So it's really about knowing yourself so freaking well before you go ahead and try to know someone else. So that's number one. You know, what kind of love was modeled to me? What are some of the patterns or beliefs that I have or stories that I have around love and around intimacy, around vulnerability, around relationships? What are the stories that were created either from my childhood or perhaps even from old relationships? And once you have figured out what those stories are, what those beliefs are that you're constantly telling yourself, I want you to write them down so you know ahead of time. And the reason I want you to do this is because they're going to come up once you start dating, and they're going to actually be the push for you to sabotage the relationship in some way. And this is so important because having the awareness around what your pattern is, what your belief is, what your story is, you will be able to, and now I'm coming to number two, determine what's true versus what's not true. And usually, these stories that we have, that we tell ourselves, that we listen to, that we give power to, are not the truth. So if I tell myself that no one will ever meet my needs, no one wants to meet my needs because a parent perhaps was unable to do it and made me feel like I was too much, then I write that down, and right next to it, I ask myself, is this true or not? And of course, I deserve to have my needs met, right? That's the truth. I can meet my own needs for myself, and also other people are going to be able to meet my needs. So it's really about noticing what the beliefs are, what the story is, and then giving it a new narrative. Every time it comes up, whoa, 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 stop. True or not? And as you walk into relationships and these stories come up and these beliefs come up, you do that again and again. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just because he hasn't texted me, does that mean he doesn't like me? Or am I just, believing some story in my head, some belief that I've been carrying? And that's when you really get to take the power back. So, going deep into yourself, seeing where you've been, where you where you came from, what stories, patterns, and beliefs that you have carried, determining what's true versus what's not, rewriting the narrative. And then I think number 3 is, do I feel safe with this person? And one of the things that my friend and I are talking about right now is, that none of her relationships have ever made her feel like they could meet her needs, or that their emotions were so much so that she had no space to express her own. And one thing that I said to her was, I think in the future, while you're dating, you'll need to ask yourself before you even give this person a shot. Even if you like them, even if you have chemistry with them, this needs to take precedent. This is like your highest priority, your highest need. And it's to ask yourself, does this person make me feel safe enough to open up or be myself? Or do I feel my body close up when I'm with them? When I think about sharing my needs with them, does my body close up? And if you feel closed or not comfortable, it's likely not for you. And one can argue that with these beliefs, like let's say that my friend's belief is that she can't express her needs because she'll be abandoned or rejected or she'll lose. At the same time, she needs to do the work of expressing her needs, knowing why she's uncomfortable with it, and then doing the work in order to feel comfortable to do it. Because while we might not feel safe, that could just be our anxiety and our belief speaking, which is why we go back to number 1 and number 2. Going in, processing, seeing the pattern so that it doesn't show up. And then once you get to number 3, having the discernment to ask yourself, does this person make me feel safe? You've already done the work. You already, shut down those limiting beliefs. And now it's just, is this person making me feel safe? Is this person, do I feel safe to be myself around them? Do I feel expanded with them? Do I feel, at home with them? And I'm going to tell you this right now. You can feel at home with a stranger when you've just met them. And actually, one of my relationships when I was a bit younger, I felt that immediately. My whole body was like, whoa, that's your home. And I said to myself, that's going to be my boyfriend. So it is possible. And I know that people, say dating is this and that, and it's not possible. I'm going to tell you that it is. When your nervous system feels regulated, when you're not doubting or having so many what ifs, that's usually your green flag to continue and move forward. And then once you've decided to move forward, you listen to your body, you've already done the work with your beliefs. Your body's like, hell yeah, this feels good. I feel safe. I trust this person. Even though I don't know them, there's something in me that's telling me like, this could work. Then you take the next step. And then number 4, because the work doesn't end just because you said yes, is that, and honestly, probably where the real work happens, is when you say yes and you give it a shot. Because that's when the limiting beliefs come back again and again. And also, you're working with another person who has limiting beliefs and trauma and stories, and you're both here trying to navigate a relationship. So the work and the job of both people is to have done this work, to have gone inward, and to have emotional maturity to work through things. But number 4, what I would give advice on is that when you feel triggered or you need to have difficult conversations that maybe you don't feel comfortable with, or they do something that, you don't really like, you're like, oh, he hasn't texted me, or, those things come up. Number 4, and this is from my own experience too, is to communicate. And the most powerful thing about communication in the beginning of a relationship is that you are just receiving information from this person. So the way that you have to watch the way they respond to you. So if when you bring up something that upset you, or, and you don't frame it as an attack, of course, you're not attacking, you're not blaming, you use I, you use me, you don't say you only speak for yourself and what you feel. I really wish we had better communication. I really value, quicker responses, things like that, of that nature. You see how they respond to you, it gives you data. So if they respond in a way where they start distancing or they become avoidant, you might feel like, oh no, your limiting belief comes back, right? And you're like, oh yes, this is exactly what I've been told myself my entire life. This is true. I don't deserve love. My needs will never be met. Things like that. And I'm here to tell you that those things are still not true. You just might not be with the right person. You might not be with the person who is going to make you feel safe and is going to listen to you and be receptive to what your needs are. So in those moments, you have to also ask yourself what's true. And when you get the response, it gives you data. If they respond and they say, oh, I understand completely, or thank you for sharing that, thank you for being vulnerable with me, I will definitely work on that, I don't want to make you feel unsafe, or any of those types of things, there's your data. Green flag. It shows you, oh, I would have a healthy relationship with this person. And if they respond in the avoidant way, it tells you, I might not have a very healthy relationship with this person. And you go from there. So a lot of what dating is, it's internal work, knowing who you are, knowing what your patterns are, knowing what your beliefs are. It's having awareness to stop yourself when you go down a rabbit hole and ask yourself what's true, what's not true. And it's also about, how does my body feel around this person? How does my nervous system feel? And then when I communicate what I need and what I want, how is it received? Those are your points to go back to over and over and over again while you're dating. Because it's not easy. It can be easier if you follow these steps, but it is not easy work. But I promise you, if you do follow these steps, you will probably be with someone who is very, very good for you, a much healthier partner than the latter, which is someone who dysregulates your nervous system. You have the chemistry with them, you have the passion with them, but they are not meeting your needs and they don't listen to you, you will avoid that type of relationship if you follow these steps. I hope this helps you wherever you are in your dating life, whether you're in a relationship too or not. This can be very helpful to know. I'm sending you love. See you soon.